the fat that we burn, the stored fat we burn, travels through the lymphatic system, which means that basically I have a little bit of a barrier to entry of efficient stored fat to burn, right? I'm still working on healing that. So what happened was I was having a heck of a time getting into ketosis. Like for a long time, even when I was losing a lot of weight, I was not deep into ketosis at all. Then I started priming, and I was never into ketosis when I was priming, just never. And finally, I figured out why. And here's what happens, especially if you have a compromised lymphatic system. This, I believe, is true. I don't have a study on it or anything, but this makes the most sense that fits what happened to me. When you have a compromised lymphatic system and you start doing carnivore, the weight was coming off at first because my body was still healing. But then what ends up happening is the metabolic process in my body for gluconeogenesis healed faster than my lymphatic system did. So the process, the path of least resistance for my body to make energy actually became turning excess protein into glucose and burning it rather than burning stored fat. Mm-hmm. So I had to be very careful now, where I didn't at first. I didn't have to. I could eat 150 grams of protein in a meal and I would not have an insulin spike. But all of a sudden, as my body healed and that process for gluconeogenesis healed and my hormones healed, it started turning the excess protein into glucose. Where before I wasn't having that problem. I might just pass it or whatever, but I was not having that problem before. So in order to fix that, that's exactly why I went to a 2-to-1 fat ratio. And then I also started limiting my portions per meal I played with it with this thing and how I felt. But I now know that I have to stay 70 grams of protein or lower. If I go over that, I'll have a little bit of an insulin spike. I'll turn the excess protein. I can only absorb about 70 grams of protein per meal for me personally, where I'm at now. So that made all the difference.
And do you have to adjust that as you're losing weight? Because obviously your body is constantly in a state of flux, really, isn't it?
It is. And also another thing, do I have to change that? Well, when my body's maybe eating damaged cells and stuff too, because it's making up, it's through autophagy and stuff. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I'm going to watch it, which is now why I pay so close attention to my ketones. But what I can tell you is before I lowered my protein to 70 grams a day, I would blow like a 4 on this thing, which you got to be between 10 and 40 to be in ketosis, on this thing. And I'd blow like a 4. I had 3. I mean, I was, even when I would fast at 48 hours into a fast, I'd blow like an 8. I wasn't even into ketosis after 40 hours because I did not have I was not really that fat adapt because I think I'd been under eating fat the whole time. After I started bumping up, and I was too, just to put this out there, I was eating a lot of butter, but for me, butter does not work like beef fat does. Tallow is like king for me for energy. The tallow has a incredible healing, incredibly healing for me. But anyhow, now I have no problem. Like this morning, I woke up and this was blowing like a 53, and I am 70 some hours into a fast. But even on any given day, I can now eat that fat meal and I'll come blow like a 23, 24 on here. And so, yeah, I'm always in ketosis now, but it gets really high when I'm fasting. And the fasting is incredibly easy now.
That's what amazes me. So there's a nice comment about you getting your driver's license back. So well done to you. And
thanks so much.
You're now just a danger on the road for the rest of us.
I am. So blessed. Watch everybody get off the sidewalks.
That's it. Yeah, stay clear of them. Yeah, watch the ad for the man in the big black hat. So, so Todd, are you able to exercise much? If so, what is it that you do?
I am. And now, well, I don't know. I don't know about much. To me, it's much because I went from being stuck in a chair. So to me, it's much. But so I got a nice Rogue weight bench right behind my computer here. And I got 5-pound to 30-pound free weights. And I do hammer curls. I do skull crushers. And I do incline fly presses. I also got a shake plate, which is one of those vibration plates you stand on. I do 30 sets of 30. I do 5 sets of 30 squats on that thing while it's vibrating to help pump my lymphatic system and get that out. I got resistance bands and I do stretching exercises with the resistance bands to loosen up. And then my brother is a little bit insane and he bought me this medieval contraption called the hit axle. And so I use that now. It's hard to explain, but it's like you're rowing an axle on your arms, and it works your shoulders and your core. And I do that every day now. And then I walk on the treadmill, but I'm about to start walking outside because it's getting really nice outside. And I'm really excited to get some more sun and walk outside this year.
Oh, very, 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 very cool. So, got another question here for you. Where are we? Here we go. Another question here. So, you obviously showed the little ketone meter. Do you want to tell them the name, the description, the brand?
A good idea. Here. Literally this thing says ketone meter, but on the back here,
original.
On the back here it says ketone breath meter. It says model number is K as in kite, E as in Edward, T as in Thomas, 5100. And that's all it says on here. I can tell you I got it on Amazon, and the last time that I looked, which was a friend of mine wanted one, and they were out of stock. But this is the one that I use. I use this because if you guys watch my Sunday show, 700 plus and counting, Michael, that's on there with us, one of our co-hosts, he uses this. And so that's why I got this one, and he trusts it. So, yeah. And
okay, I'll keep the questions coming, guys. It's really, really good. Keep the questions coming.
Keep a close up for that so you can see what it looks like. That way, if you can spot it online.
Yeah, right. So obviously, you've lost a lot of weight, and you've maintained that weight loss. A question that I'm going to ask, because I had not as bad an issue of it, is skin. So in terms of the loose skin that you're losing weight so drastically in the way you do, what's your situation? Because I was fortunate, after a period of time, a lot of my skin has tightened. But yourself, you've lost me weight-wise. That's quite a lot of skin.
Yeah, I could reupholster that couch behind me with the loose skin I have, like no problem. So yeah, there's not enough years in my life and autophagy that's going to eat that skin up, right? So I got to get it cut off. But what the question is when? And I have many plans, but I've studied it a lot. I've talked to Dr. Baker about it. You want to be as lean as possible when you get the skin surgery because it's less likely to scar. Right. Plus, you want to as healthy as you can have. You want your lymphatic system healthy, because if you have a compromised lymphatic system, it dumps the lymphatic fluid that's supposed to dump into your blood to go to your liver and get filtered out of your body ends up back in the body and being stored, and that's some kind of dirty fluid that can cause infections when you cut out that much skin. So originally, I had plans to get it done the winter, this December of 2024. But after researching it, I decided I'm trying to make adult decisions now and not get in a hurry, right? Yeah. And so I think I'm going to wait until 2025 so that I can give myself the best shot. Because if you're not lean enough when you get it cut off, everything, once it heals, it settles wrong. So you can have like cross-eyed nipples going.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get leaner, but that's the plan for the winter of 2025, definitely.
And do you have a target weight for that?
So I don't know. Okay. Can you put that picture of me up with that has the overlay?
The double picture, yeah?
Yeah, the double picture. So as of today, I'm 200. I wish I was 200. I'm 458 pounds. But in this skinnier picture of me in the black, even right there, I was 490 pounds. Now, most people say that I don't look 490 pounds in that picture. I don't think that I look like other people who look 490 pounds in that picture. And the only reason why I bring this up, it's all semantics and I don't care. But for me trying to figure out, you can drop that picture now. For me trying to figure out I want to get to about 24%, 20 to 24% body fat, which is seems to be a pretty healthy, just by watching, a pretty healthy fat ratio for carnivores. Like if you're not carnivore, like closer to 18% is better, but carnivores seem to look better and very, very fit, very, very solid, very lean looking at about 24%. Take Raymond Nazow from SBG Gang. He's got abs at, he's like ripped at 24% body or 23 point something. So that's more the goal, but I don't know what my weight is actually going to be. And I also have to take in consideration that I'm going to have 40 to 50 pounds of skin that's going to come off. And then also carnivores. I'm just watching this now. I'm an admin at the Steak and Butter Gang, and we watch people go through their journey. And if you take the TDE calculator, that those body weights are based on a metabolically sick population that are malnourished. So carnivores tend to weigh a fair amount heavier because they have more dense bones and muscle structure, and they're more fit, they're healthier, they're dense. So I personally think that when I'm going to be looking toward it when I get somewhere around 300 to 280 pounds, knowing that when they take the skin off, that's going to put me right around, 230 to 250, somewhere in there. I think that's where my range is going to be, somewhere between. I'm going to reconvene and see what that looks like when I get there, but that's kind of my plan.
So, because this kind of ties in with what you're saying, then someone's asking the question, what's life going to look like 5 years from now for you, Todd?
I want to see how young I can grow. So basically that's my new plan is I just want to get, I'm going to have to get 3 skin surgeries because it's too much to do at once. So I want to do that. And then I want to, I want to grow my YouTube channel because this needs to get out there. Like, I get people that say you're spreading lies for money. Well, full disclosure, I've made $62.36 off of YouTube since I've been doing this. I mean, I am killing it, baby. So none of this has to do with money. I've spent so much more money than that getting this word out because this is killing. I watched it kill my brother. I believe it killed my dad. I watched this killing my mom right now. This environment's killing our friends, killing our families, and we're told that it's all normal, that everything's okay here. There's nothing to see here. Just take drugs. And so in 5 years, I hope that I'm making some sort of impact on making people so healthy that the drug companies are going bankrupt. That's what I'm hoping, or at least starting to, making a difference in their bottom line.
And that's great attitude to have. I think that's awesome. So you talk about the scarring side of it. I revealed to you before, I had skin cancer and I had 18 stitches in my forehead. And as you can see, there is not even a mark on it. I had 18 stitches across here.
That's impressive.
Had a melanoma taken out. So, and I think a lot of that was the bone broth and my skin just healed amazingly to the point that when I went back a week later, they went to take the stitches out and they said, why did you leave it so long? And I said, what are you talking about? And they said, well, this is 2 or 3 weeks, two and a bit weeks worth of skin heal. And I went, no, I had it last Friday. They wouldn't believe me. They wouldn't believe me. Yeah. So that's awesome. So there's another question here. So it's about fasting, which is a question I'm quite interested in here because, as I said to you, I'm an accidental faster, as and when I'm not hungry, etc. Where you're very focused. Obviously, you talked about priming, but this is a very, very good question. So concerns with longer fasting, then, and dialing down on your
anymore. And that's a fair question because before I was nourished, that was a real problem. But now I know exactly what it feels like. Like, this is so good when you start playing with this, even if the fast does dial it down, you need to know what it feels like for your metabolism to tank on you, because then you can watch out for it. So when I set a fast, I have a goal that I want to hit, but I'll abort it now if I get to 36 hours in and it's wrong and I feel my metabolism going. I realize that something's off. It can be stress. It could be that I didn't have enough fat in my diet before I started the fast. It could be that I'm coming down with something, or it could be that you're oxalate dumping. What we don't understand is that our bodies store all those nasty oxalates from all the American food that we ate in our fat cells. And sometimes our body's dealing with it. Sometimes when you just wake up and you feel weird and there's no reason for it, and you might get a little skin rash, or you feel a little itchy, or you get a little inflamed. A lot of time it's your body healing something and dumping some oxalates. So long story short is, yes, if I only looked at a timeline, like I'm going to do 6 days. Well, I wouldn't have done 6 days if on 4 days, if I started getting brain fog, if I started not sleeping well, if my energy level had dropped, if I was starting to think about food too much and I was starting to have cravings. If that happened, I would have aborted it and went and ate meat and fat right away. So the question that really it's a muscle that you work out. And you know, I didn't start at 6-day fast, and I mean, I technically started at a 21-day fast, and that was stupid, made me sick. But then I went back to the SBG, and I learned, and I got primed, and then I learned how to fast. And the first thing you go back to is like OMADs, and then you go to 36-hour fast, then 48, then 72, and it's a muscle you work out, and you train your body to fast. And now I don't have that issue. You know, I'm really toying with, after I get back from Texas, back from Hack Your Health. I'm really toying with doing a 40-day fast, because I've always wanted to do a 40-day fast and I've never hit it. So many people they're like, oh man, I fell off, 2 weeks ago, but I'm back on for 10 days. So now I'm going to fast. It's like, no, at first you got to eat your way through all the addiction. You got to eat your way through. And I mean, that means dairy too. Like, if you're having a hard time eating enough food because it's satiating, this is where the dairy does have a superpower. At first, when you're trying to prime,